everybody, I'm Victoria Simmons with the Georgia Post. This is this week's edition of the Georgia Post Review. My co-host today is Linda Reynolds. Hey, Linda. Our guest this week is Ms. Patrice Walker, who is the Crawford County Tax Commissioner. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Sure, thanks for inviting me.
So let's talk about your job. Tell us, first of all, why did you decide to go into this position?
Well, that's interesting. When I first started working in the office, it was my first job after raising my children. My son had just gone into second grade, and I decided it was time for me to get a job again, and this was the only job I could find in town, so I could be near the kids.
A lot of moms travel that path.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you went to work. Who was the tax commissioner you went to work under?
Cynthia Davis.
Yeah, okay, CC. Okay, and you were there how long?
I worked for her for 17 years.
Oh, wow. And then how long have you been in the position now?
And I've been a year and a half now.
Okay, so this is your first full term.
Yes, I'm almost halfway through.
So you run for 4 years?
Yes.
Okay. Well, congratulations. That's quite a career step.
Thank you.
So tell us about your office. What all goes on in your office? How many people you have working for you?
We have four people in the office, including myself, 2 on the customer line, and 1 working in the office, and then me in the back. We've recently moved to a new office at 640 Georgia Highway 128. It used to be the Central Georgia Tech building, but now it's our office, the Crawford County Government Complex, and it's just a beautiful building. I hope everybody comes to see and know that we're no longer located in the old school on 341.
So the difference is just amazing. Do you have more room and everything?
Yes, most offices do have a lot more room. My office in the new building is actually smaller, but we're working on it. We're managing. We have enough room to do what we need to do.
Eventually, everybody has to pay their taxes, right?
That's right.
So tell us what all your office does.
We issue car tags and titles. We collect property taxes for the county and the school, because when you live in Georgia, you have to pay tax on the things that you own, if it's land or your cars or your mobile home or your motorcycle, whatever it is, and you pay tax on 40% of the value, and you multiply that 40% times our millage rate, and that's the amount of tax. If it's your car, if your car has a value of $1,000, you only pay tax on 40% of that, and it's just that times our millage rate is the amount of tax that you pay.
And that changed the last couple of years ago, right? As far as your car, the way that you pay tax on your car.
In 2013, the state of Georgia changed the way they collect tax on motor vehicles. Now, when you buy a new vehicle, you pay all the lifetime tax up front, and then after that, as long as you own the vehicle, you're taxed just $20 a year.
Okay.
That seems like a lot of money to add to an upfront price of the car.
It is. It is. It hurts customers and everyone else. It's better for the dealers because you finance that in when you buy from a dealer. I can tell you that dealers, really pushed for the change in the law. It is better for them to finance that in. It just helps.
They get more money, more interest.
Yes, they do.
Okay, well that explains why. I was going to ask why you thought that
So
came
even
about.
if you buy a used car, it's the same thing. You
That's
pay the upfront value.
That's right. If you'll come to our office and you'll pay the title fee and the TAVIT tax, title ad valorem tax is what it's called.
Did that create more paperwork for your office? Or?
It's a process. We're still trying to get used to it. The legislature changes the laws almost every year in the session, and so there's new things that come along. This year, they made it, on January 1st, they made it mandatory that motor vehicle dealers can contact a third party to pay their to handle their titles. So let me back up. For many, many years, we handled all of the titles for all of the people in our county. And on January 1st of this year, the state changed that law, that now they have a third party to process titles for motor vehicle dealers. And that makes a lot of errors. You know, our county, we have the city of Knoxville, we have the city of Culloden, we have Newzella, Lizella, and Roberta. And each of those cities, you know, part of them are in another county. And if a person lives in our county and the title is processed in another county, then they get the money. The lifetime money.
The lifetime, oh, wow.
For the vehicle. And so it's gotten really complicated.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That kind of stinks.
It does.
One thing that your office handles are tax FIFAs, which nobody likes, especially if their name in there, and we all hate pay taxes anyway. But kind of explain that process to us.
When you take the oath as tax commissioner, you take the oath that you are going to collect the taxes however you have to do it. And so, if a tax bill is 90 days past due, the law is that I'm required to issue a tax lien, which is a FIFA. And that gives me the right to sell the property for the taxes that are due. I don't like to do it, I don't want to do it, but it is part of my job. It is my job to collect all of the taxes for the county, and if the people won't pay them willingly, then
you don't have any other recourse.
That's right, I might have to sell their property to collect
took
the
an oath,
taxes.
sorry.
Yeah. Yes, it's hard, but in fact, we're having one the first Tuesday in October. We're having our tax sale for 2018. Started out with about 400 properties. Now we're down to 140 that still haven't gotten the taxes paid. And so we're hoping that by the time we go to tax sale, we'll have zero. Maybe everybody will pay their taxes and we won't have to sell anything.
How often does that happen?
Never in my experience.
You can always hope.
That's right.
Now, just to back up for a
Okay,
second. Just to back up a second, a FIFA is FIFA, and
Yes.
it's a shortening of a French word that's
Yes.
about 400 letters long,
That's right. That means tax lien.
Tax lien, okay. And so you put that in the newspaper and you advertise for 4 weeks, and if they come in during that time and pay their taxes, then they get pulled from.
Right. Sure. We'll take payment up to the day of the tax sale, you know, because we do not want to sell your house. We do not want to sell your property. If you come the day of the tax sale, I'll take your money and not sell it. I'd be glad to do that. But the FIFA is issued when a tax bill is 90 days past due. And that is what gives me the right to sell the property. As a choice, I don't sell a piece of property if it's only delinquent for 1 year. But when a tax bill becomes delinquent 2 years, that's when I really have to do my job then.
Yeah. And so when somebody's past due 90 days, you kind of let them slide, you start sending them letters, you forgot to pay your taxes.
Yes, we send out a notice before we issue the FIFA.
Okay.
And that's their last notice. That's the last legal thing I have to do before I issue that FIFA. So we send that notice out, and then the FIFA gets issued. And then, you know, and as they're coming in every year to renew their tags, you know, they're talking to me about their taxes, and we're talking about it, and you know, I try to let them know when it has to be paid.
By the way.
I do have some friends who are tax commissioners that won't sell you a tag if you haven't paid your taxes.
They won't sell you an auto tag if you haven't paid your property taxes.
That's right.
Well, then you can't drive either.
Right.
Does that come up on the computer or something? How do you know?
It does. A lot of tax commissioners in the Gratis Motor Vehicle Database, there is a way to put a warning on a customer, and they use that a lot.
And not all newspapers pull the ones that are paid, Linda. We're one of the few that do. Actually, they let them run the whole 4 weeks regardless, but we do.
We try.
Yeah, we try. Yeah, sometimes we miss them, but, we try.
No, they'll work with us really well. Thank you so much.
So, this time of the year, other than getting ready for the FIFA or tax sale, what's your office doing?
Right now, we're working on getting the 2018 digest together. We,
And explain what a digest is, because I didn't know.
okay, a digest is a really big book that has all the details of the piece of property that you own, the acreage, the topography, everything about your property and your tax bill. It's everything organized so that I can bill you for your taxes.
So it's the opposite of Reader's Digest.
The tax assessor, they're over everything about the values and all the details of your property. And they have until July 15th to have all of those details compiled into this book. Now, and then I have to make sure everything in the book is correct. And then I have to take those figures, compile those figures. 40% of that is what you pay taxes on. So I have to, figure
Okay, so if your
every bill.
property is worth $100,000 and you're paying tax on $40,000 and you multiply that by the county millage rate, that's the county's money, then you multiply it by the school millage rate. That's
Well, we use the combined millage rate.
You use the combined, okay.
Combined, this year, our millage rate will be 30.03. It was the same thing as 17. So our taxes won't go up unless your value has changed this year.
So what would cause a property's value to go up or down? I mean, obviously, if industry moves in, there's more demand for the property, but what else?
Well, I'm not the assessor, so I can't really, tell you everything, but if you add a building to your home
Okay.
and the tax assessors are required every 3 years to do a total reval. So they have to come out to your house at least every 3 years and reevaluate your property. So you could expect a change at least every 3 years because it's not going to stay the same,
So you can't avoid an increase in your value because you didn't pull permits to put a huge extension on, right?
Right. That's right.
You will be caught.
That's right. Or a pool or.
Okay, so those kinds of things would enhance your property value. All right.
What, do you have to attend school every year? What are the requirements, or what schools do you have to attend to keep up in your office?
I am required to have classes every year. We go in October, we attend the Georgia Association of Tax Officials. That's in May, and that one is in Athens. And then every year in October, we attend another week's session where we're in school all week. And that one is in Savannah. So I go to Athens and Savannah every year.
So, does that bring you up to date with maybe law changes or?
It does. A lot of excitement's going on right now because on September 24th, 2019, the new drives program will be installed in all of our offices. Right now, for motor vehicle, we're using the gratis program, which has been active since 1990.
Wow.
And it's a dot matrix based program. And
So you get updates every 30 years.
well, all 159 counties in Georgia use that program to issue car tags and titles.
Okay, so
And-
watch out 2019.
And it's very full. And so the state of Georgia has been working for quite some time now on the new drives program. It's a Windows-based program, and we are very excited. Two months ago, everyone in my office went to a class learning how to operate it. We had to buy, for my office, $12,000 worth of new equipment, new computers, new scanners, new everything to be able to run this new drives program.
Ouch.
Does the program itself cost, or does that?
No,
okay.
the state provides it to us, and normally the requirements would be paid for, but this year it was unfunded.
Oh, along with a lot of other things in Georgia.
Right. So I had to go to the county commissioners and ask for that money, and it wasn't even that I could really ask them because they didn't have a choice and I didn't have a choice. The state required that we update by July 1 this year, and there was no money for it. Our budget had already been set, so we just had to do a line item.
But everything's,
And did the county take that out of contingency?
yes, they did.
Okay.
I was at that meeting for that. So everything's installed,
Everything's
but it won't
installed.
go online until September?
Right, of next year.
Next year.
But they want us to have plenty of time to have training, and they're still actually working on getting everything compiled, getting everyone's information changed over, because you have to think, we put information in our system based on driver's license numbers. They used to be your social, and so we have social security numbers in our system that we're having to get together and make sure that those people are still alive, that they still have those vehicles, and that their social security number has changed, or their driver's license has changed from their social security number.
And if there were problems with where people lived in the city versus which county before, wait till September of 2019.
Oh,
I think it's going to be a really good thing. I've looked at the program and studied it. I've been to school 3 or 4 times now on it, and it's really awesome, and we're all excited about it. It's going to make things easier. It's going to make things streamlined. It's just going to be good for us, I know.
Good.
Is your office having to input some of that into the new system, or is
No.
the state's doing, well, that's good.
I'm always amazed that you can have a Byron address but live in Crawford County. And you can have a Fort Valley address but live in Crawford
And
County.
you can have a Lizella address.
Yeah.
Yes, Culloden. Because so many of our cities that make up our county are on the edge
Are
with
crossing
another,
boundaries.
with
Yeah.
another county. That's right. We have Bibb, we have Peach, we have Monroe, and I think that's it that touch
That
us.
border us.
Mhm.
Wow.
Okay.
So tell us about your office hours, and do you take credit cards?
The hours are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We're there, we don't close for lunch or anything, so we're there all day. We
That's
don't
a
work on-
change, isn't it?
That is. Previously, we were closed for lunch, so now that I have 4 employees in the office, it's safety, it's a safety issue, and there are enough employees in the office that we can take staggered lunches.
Staggered lunches, yeah.
And have plenty of people in the office.
But that's really good because a lot of people who work in Roberta can run out there and pay their tags at their lunchtime too. And that's a really big
We're actually
convenience.
very busy during lunch, and that's
I bet you
surprising.
Yeah, that's when most people do their stuff.
That's right. We take cash, check, credit cards, debit cards. You can pay your property taxes online. You can't pay your car tags online yet because the state handles online tag renewals. They mail out a renewal notice that has a code that you have to have that code to renew it online. Now, in order for us to mail out those renewal notices, right now it would cost about $2,000 for us to mail those out to all the people in Crawford County. And that's a lot. And the program at the state level has had some issues. And I just don't quite trust it right now to spend that much money, $2,000 a month. That's a lot to ask the taxpayers to spend on a program that's not real secure right now. So we want to help our customers in every way that we can, and so what we do instead is, if you have your tag numbers, you can call us. We'll renew them for you. We'll run your debit card and drop them in the mail to you. I mean, it's
That's
easy.
fabulous.
Yes, it's easy and quick, but it's just us, it's a workaround.
And it doesn't cost $2,000 a month.
That's right, and we're happy to do it. So,
Is there a fee to use your credit card, an extra?
there is, you know, the banks don't do that for
I
free.
know.
And so, but I worked really hard. I got the lowest rate that I could find. If you use your debit card to pay for motor vehicles, it's $1.95 or 1.5%. And if you pay your property taxes, it's $3.50.
That sounds really reasonable.
Yeah.
It adds up, though, when you're paying your property taxes. That does add up as a fee on there.
But if your property taxes are, let's say, $400, and you can pay it with a credit card for $3.50,
Yep,
that sounds like a bargain to me.
that's right.
Yeah,
And if you want to use an e-check, it's $1.95. So,
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, and if you
And what
want,
system is that called? Because we use something called Square in different capacities. What system?
well,
is that?
I have a company that does it for me.
Okay.
And they put the property taxes online, and if you want to look at your property tax history, you can pull that up online. Just go to the Crawford County, CrawfordCountyGA.org website.
So this is a company that does it for lots of counties.
They do. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. What a great business.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you explain to us, like in the five-hash sales, somebody else buys the property and then they have a right to redeem?
That's right.
Can you explain that process?
Owner one is the one whose name the property is in that we're selling. Owner two is the buyer at the tax sale. Owner one has a year that they can redeem the property, no questions asked. They have to pay buyer two 20% of what they paid for the property. But anytime during that first year, owner one can redeem the property, no questions asked. They just have to pay buyer two what they paid plus 20%. At the end of a year, buyer two, if they want to own the property for long term, they have to advertise in the paper for an end to the redemption period. And once they do that, then buyer one can no longer come back and redeem the property. They own it. It doesn't have a clean title, but they do own the property.
So how did they get a clean title? I mean, you bought the property at a sale, and you own it, and you advertised it, and you paid for it, and the owner one doesn't come back and pay you sale price plus 20%, and you don't have a clear title? What do you do about that?
Well, it's complicated because I act as ex officio sheriff to sell the properties.
A little bad.
I don't have one yet, but I want one. So it happens automatically after 7 years. If buyer two owns the property for 7 years, it automatically cleans itself. If you want to borrow money and put this property up that doesn't have a clear title, there's a way to go about it. It's basically having to file a lawsuit. It's less complicated than what it seems. But there is a way to clean up that
Okay.
property.
So basically, if you're buying property at the courthouse steps, you probably want to be in it for 8 years.
Probably, yes.
Okay. Intend to live in it or rent it or something, because the long run, you won't have a clean title for 7 years.
That's right.
Well, a year and then 7 more.
Well, that's right. And a lot of people buy properties at tax sale as an investment. That 20% that owner one pays back can add up to a lot of money.
Sure.
But a lot of people still go and buy at a tax sale because they know the property next door, they want to live next door to a neighbor, and that's why we advertise in the Georgia Post everything about that piece of property, and you can look through and you can see if that's something that you're interested in doing.
I didn't know that about the 8 years. That's interesting.
Yeah, so if you're looking to move to Crawford County, October's a good time to consider.
Well, basically, if you're looking for a home to live in, I don't recommend doing it through the tax sale process, because you can't set foot on the property for 1 year.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it still belongs to the other
It's-
person until.
The
Well,
other
who's
person-
responsible for mowing and if a tree falls down and insurance and stuff like that?
It's complicated.
There was a movie called that one.
So if I buy something at a tax sale, I'm not allowed to step foot on it for 1 year, but if the lawn gets high and I'm cited by the city for not maintaining my property, I gotta pay the ticket, but I still can't set foot on the property.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Beware, buyers.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that if you plan to live there, right?
That's right, and you might have someone actually living in the house.
Okay, so buyer one doesn't have to move out for a year. I
That's
mean,
right.
not buyer one, owner number
Owner
one
one,
doesn't
right.
have to move out for a year.
That's right. They should.
And you would think they would,
I think they would,
Yeah.
but after 1 year, we can get the sheriff's help for that.
It could become a nightmare.
It's complicated.
In that, is there any provisions that if somebody owes a lot of taxes or they get behind, do you try to work with them so they can make payments or?
I do. I take partial payments all year long. The tax bills go out in September, not due until December 20th. And you can make, you can pay $50 a week and you can have your tax bill done by the due date and you won't have to pay any interest or penalties. Now, if you are in a tax sale and you owe, okay, right now, the tax sale that we're working on is 16 and 17. So if you owe taxes for 16 and 17, when we sent you the first notice, we would have allowed you to pay the 16 taxes and get out of the tax sale, and then you can make partial payments on the 17, so that by the time the 18s come out, the end of this year, you'll be current.
So what I'm hearing you say is you try everything to work with the constituents of Crawford County so you don't have to go through this and they don't have to go through this.
Absolutely.
Pick up the phone and call Patrice.
Yes. Call and talk, come see me. Yeah, feel free. Talk to any of the ladies in the office. They're all happy to help you. And we do. We'll go out of our way to help you in any way that we can.
Well, we think y'all do a good job. Of course, we love all y'all. So.
Thank you.
And we thank you for being here today and explaining your office. I learned quite a bit. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our guest today has been Patrice Walker from the Crawford County Tax Commissioner. So if you need to pay your taxes and you've already gotten a bill, go pay your taxes. So you won't appear in the tax sale.
What's that phone number, Patrice?
It's 478-836-3575.
Great.
We hope that everybody has a good week, and we look forward to talking to you next week.